Welcome to World of Braiding. Following up on our training on the natural business of hair beauty, today we're going to talk on single plaits and how to get started. Remember we talked on cornrows in our last video, so I'll take you through some discussions again like we did. It's just for you to understand the background information into what you do when you start this business. So single plaits, they're basically the interweaving of strands of hair to form a rope. This rope can be done on all hair types. So this is where I train you to make sure you understand how to work with all types of hair. I know lots of people who say all they can do is work with the Afro hair. No, you can actually do single plaits on Asian hair, Caucasian hair, Afro hair, relaxed or natural. All types of hair can be done in single plaits. Ideally, single plaits is the beginning of hair braiding. That is the stage where once you know what you're doing in single plaits, be able to add extensions to single plaits. This is when you know that you can actually offer the business of braiding or offer the service of braiding. So, who will wear single plaits? We said everyone will wear it, men, women, children. Although in my experience of doing single plaits, I don't get lots of clients who are men asking for single plaits. But naturally, children want single plaits because they last longer than the cornrows. And women, this is one of their favorite hairstyles because, again, they can be as creative as possible. And that's actually one of the things I love wearing. So lots of the times you see me wearing single plaits. Why do I like single plaits? Because they're not as damaging as cornrows. Cornrows, you actually pull them on a track, while single plaits, you're actually working on a section. And what that means is the hair sits at that particular section and doesn't really get to pull, so the damage is less in single plaits. I love single plaits, and that's why I want you to understand how to work with it, again, to avoid damaging your client's hair. How long does it take to braid single plaits? Remember we said with the cornrows as well, it depends on the various factors such as what is the hair texture you're working with, what is the length of this hair you're going to try and create, what is the size of the client's head, density of the hair on the client's head, size of sections, that is the patterns that you're creating, and the style of the hair you're trying to create. All of this add up to give you the number of hours that you're going to be using creating this. But unlike the cornrows, single plaits tend to take more hours and more time than the cornrows. The single plaits also, you could have them in various groups, like the micro braids, which is the really tiny sections, making very small plaits, and then we call them jumbo braids, a bit like what I'm wearing, but of course you can also have them bigger. Now, it depends on how much of the sections of the hair you're picking, how long you're going to make the hair, the length of the hair. All of this add up to give you the number of hours you'll be using. And normally I say to people from about 5 hours to 6 hours, 7 hours. Some people actually do it in 2 days because they are actually working on what we call the micro braids or the million braids. So, how do I maintain my single plaits once I've done it? Just like the cornrows, make sure you cover it at night with silk or satin scarf. I recommend those because they don't soak up the oil on the client's scalp. They actually leave it intact and it's not rubbing all over the pillowcase when you sleep. You must spray them with your braid sheen, and you also apply leave-in conditioner because they help to condition the scalp. So, next question becomes, how long can I wear my single plaits? It's important they understand that they don't keep the hair for too long. The reason is, if you leave your hair in for too long, it will naturally start locking itself up. And that is what causes the tangle, and this is where lots of people think they lose a lot of hair when they braid their hair. Why? Because at the stage of taking it out, you have had your hair with you for so long, and then now you're trying to remove it. The hair has locked itself up, so the time to release the tangles becomes a problem, and then lots of people tend to pull it through really quickly, and that's what causes the damage. Now, we recommend no more than 3 months. 3 months is the highest period you can keep your hair for. But after that, make sure you're taking it out and you're doing all the regular maintenance that we're going to be talking about right now. So, health and safety. Remember, you never hold the scalp too tight, whatever the braiding technique you're doing, single plaits, cornrows, twisting. Once you hold the scalp too tight, what you're going to actually be causing in your client's hair is what we call traction alopecia, where the hair now starts pulling out from the follicles. You don't want that. You want your client's hair to be healthy. So we recommend do not hold the scalp too tight. It also leads to headaches, and I've heard of very, very horrendous stories where people realize that their scalp was bleeding because someone's actually pulled the scalp too tight. So don't be one of the people causing that kind of problem. Take time to take out the hair. Be careful as well. We've talked about taking out the hair. Now, usually lots of people struggle when it's time to take out single plaits. I mean, I get clients come to me and say, yes, I want this hair to look as full as possible. Fine, I give them that, but do you know what happens when it's time to take it out? That's when they're really hating me. Why does she make it so much? Oh gosh, I can't take that. You know, there's no time to take out this hair. It's important you take your time to take it out. What I recommend, look out for a weekend when you're not really doing a lot of things. And then, you know, create the time to say, this is when I want to take out my hair. So what you then do, hold all of them in a band and take one out at a time. And of course, also note where your hair stops. So if you need to do a bit of cutting to make sure that you can actually pick out the hair, cut where your hair is not. You know, make sure you check it and see where your hair stopped. So you can cut it at a point where your hair is not, and then you can now take your time and pick it out. Because be very clear, this is where lots of people damage their hair. Sometimes they're cutting it this way, another time they're cutting it that way. And by the time they finish taking out the whole hair, there are, you know, discrepancies of where is this length, where is that length. So take your time to take out the hair and you will be happy with the result. Maintenance, we've said healthy hair habits is very important. So things we were talking about were the braidings and covering it at night so you're not having friction on your pillowcase. Keep the scalp constantly moisturized because again you want the follicles to be able to breathe so your hair can continue to grow while you're in your braids. So make sure the hair is healthy. Apply lots of braidings. I mean, you know, spray the scalp so it's moisturized and keeps your hair healthy. Now when you come for training here, there are things I'll be helping you to look out for. Make sure you hold the strand of hair firm, not tight. There's a difference between firm and tight because when you don't hold it firm, it comes out in 2 days and that's when your clients will come back and say the hair didn't last. So if you hold it firm, it's not going to be tight, but the hair sits in well. And this is what I get all the time from my clients. They're so happy because it's not tight, but it sits in. And my hair could last up to 3 months. So that shows that something good is happening there. I'm going to look out for your smooth plaits to make sure that your plaits are smooth, so it's not looking all rough and rugged. That is what we ensure you get when you come for training here. We're going to look out for the knit sections. This is very important. I've had lots of inquiries coming through asking me, how do I create knit sections? We will work with you to understand how your comb sits in your hand, and you are sectioning this scalp such that there's enough space. The hairs are taken away from the part. We don't want you braiding any hair with hair sitting all over the place. What happens is you actually pull the wrong strands of hair, and then it actually causes a lot of pain to the client. We then encourage you to build a portfolio of your work, because the minute you start braiding hair and you're able to start creating lovely looks on the training head, we ensure you start taking pictures of what you've done. We encourage you to start being creative, because your creativity is what stands out in this business. So you have to be unique, you have to create something amazing. And when you created that, then you take pictures of this work and then you start creating your portfolio. When your clients come, they want to see what you've been able to do in the past. They don't want to just hear that I can braid. Okay, can I see what you've done before? This is where the portfolio counts, and this is one of the things I ensure you achieve. So just a quick understanding about how sectioning happens, because this is one of the areas where people are very keen. There are different types of sectioning, and it's important you know them, because I hear people ask me, what do I do when I'm creating sections? There are different types, and like I said, the most popular of them all is the squares. So you always work from the back of the client's head, and you create a straight line where you actually, this is an example of what a square section should be. So you actually create a straight line from ear to ear, and then you create that straight line and start taking the strands down. That is the square sections. They're usually a lot easier to create than the other methods I'm going to talk about. Then we have the arches. Now this is so popular in Africa, while the squares is more popular in America. So with the arches, again, we work with the comb. You have to be good at this. You don't just automatically think you will know how to create arches. But again, if you come to our training, we guide you through all of that. So we encourage you to understand how to hold your comb when you're actually creating these sections. So the arches is the next popular thing. And after you've been able to create that, then we also have the triangles, which is, you know, not too popular, but again, very good when you're trying to be very creative. And this is very good when you're creating the jumbo braids. So these are the three main sectioning types in single plaits. You can be a bit more creative. There's another one, the diamonds designs. That is again something that you can just add to your designs. But this gives you something to work on. And I think we're going to take it today here and look forward to seeing more of these videos, because it's good for you to understand the background of the business itself and not just the hobby. And for us, we want you to have a skill that you can actually work with and be able to earn money that keeps you going, and you will have a more fulfilling, satisfied life. So thank you for watching, and keep watching. We enjoy your comments and we want you to continue to send them to us. So we're looking at sectioning. We're saying to you, whenever you start your braids, it's always best to start from the back. Now it's important because I've seen people who try to start braids from the front. When you do this, remember there's a natural flow to hair. So when you're starting from the back, this is what you need to do. We're looking at sectioning. Sectioning is all about designing the shapes. And the best one that I normally recommend to my students is the square sections. Now, why do I recommend that? Because it's the easiest of them all. It's so easy to create straight lines and create shapes. So squares is what I recommend, and that's what I suggest to start with. Squares are quite popular in the US. This is what you do. You just create a straight line from ear to ear. So this is the ears and a straight line at the nape, starting. And then what you do is just create the lines down, and this is your squares. Now, once you can create the first line, the next thing is the second line. You practically don't create the next line on top of the one before. This is what we call building blocks in braiding. You want to be able to slightly stay away from the line that you created underneath. So what this does, it actually makes these strands block the spaces that are in between, and this is what gives you that lovely full head of braids. After the squares, what's the next one? The next popular one is the arches. Arches are very, very popular in Africa, because this is what you just do. You work with a comb. Remember, we talked about how good you work with your comb. The comb has to neatly create some sections for you, and you basically arching your hands. I know this is a lot more difficult to create because lots of people struggle with it, but it's one of those designs, again, that automatically creates its own building blocks. You do not have to mentally wonder, how do I create this? It just happens because you know where to put the next section. The other section type is the triangles. So we're basically looking back, you know, remember when you were younger, you were in primary school, where you were able to create shapes. That's what we're doing with the hair. So with the triangles, again, not very popular with basic daily braiding, but it's one of those styles that you use when you're trying to be very creative. You will be using the triangles when you're working on a client who has what we call the jumbo braid. So you want to really tell people that, look at how creative I am. So triangles will help you create that. And then the other one is actually the diamonds. Again, that's been a bit more creative as well. So once you get good at this other one, creating diamonds are a lot easier to do. So we're going to take our training up to this level today and stop here. Now keep watching out for more, because our aim is to make sure you are well armed and well equipped to work with your clients and give them the best looks that they're looking for. We want you to be very professional in creating your work, and these are some of the things that actually guide you and help you to achieve that. So thank you for watching. Keep your comments coming. We really do appreciate them, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Thank you.